All that being said, because we could go on forever and ever and ever, and I do appreciate that, but we're already over the time for me to launch this as a live on Twitter and make it look like we're actually having this conversation later. Thank you, StreamYard, for your 1 hour limitation. I don't know what that's about. But all of that being said, one of the big things that we tease, and I definitely want to, thanks, Kelvin, star student, by the way, MBA program guy, literally can't get clients to say no now, which is fantastic. Too busy. So with that being said, one of the things I'd love to lean into, maybe in the last few minutes, and let's get some structure to this. I did also talk with Alex P, and I think she had some great stuff. So at a more esoteric level, because I think we've gotten into the execution, the future of and applicable use for performance media for the platform of TikTok. Maybe plant a flag, maybe say where you're thinking about it. I'll be happy to go last. But maybe we can kind of have this as the last little point. Where do you think that platform is going? What do you think its advantage or disadvantages are? And how are you incorporating that strategically? Let's go, Barry. You want to go first?
I went first last time, Barry.
All right.
Yeah. Best Hack goes first this time.
Thank you. One of the most interesting things I think I was expecting us to cover and we didn't was like the gap, the difference between influencer reach and paid reach. We pretty much only exclusively talked about paid reach, which I don't know about for you, Charlie. For me, is like a blind spot. I'm so focused on paid ads that I don't really focus as much or care as much about the actual influencers reach, because I think it's also such a smaller scale usually, right? Like I can get millions of impressions from my paid dollars, whereas the influencers are probably getting fewer. On TikTok,
I'll say this: influencer reach is a conversation for 2016. It's done now. It's pennies on the dollar for what you can do with paid.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. But I would say there's got to be some value to it in TikTok, right? If you're getting an influencer to make a worthwhile piece of content and hashtag it well or whatever, right? It can have legs, right? Talk to Cody. Like he's seen, the power of things, lifting off on their own, which you can't really get much more. Virality on Facebook is barely a thing anymore, which is a shame. But on TikTok, it's still very, very much alive and probably will be around for at least a year or two, hopefully. And so there is a lot of that earned media, which is one of my least favorite terms in the industry. But there is a lot of that can still happen. So I think that's an interesting bit here is because you can use Spark ads to promote from those creators, and that can actually live and breathe on its own, even without paid support once it's kind of launched. If the algorithm picks it up, there is a lot to win there. So I don't remember what I'm supposed to otherwise say about TikTok, but I do. I'm excited to play with it more for a couple partners I'm working with. Really excited to dig in. Also, I literally started a 30-day TikTok challenge today, of making a fool of myself.
Thanks for following me, by the way. I appreciate that. I'm one of your first.
You got a lot of followers. You got to, thanks for promoting me on there.
Yeah.
I'm making a fool out of myself and having some fun on there, making some content. So I'm excited to see where this goes. I'm excited to see where this whole TikTok thing fails or doesn't. This is the first time in a long time I've felt like there is actually a worthwhile platform aside from Facebook. Snapchat didn't really do it for maybe more than a few months. And it's always been hard for me. And one of my biggest blind spots has always been preferring to focus on Facebook rather than separate, spend any of my energy elsewhere because the return wasn't there, right? Pinterest, Snapchat, LinkedIn, Twitter, all of these have, kind of fizzled out at scale compared to the screws that I can turn on Facebook. So I'm excited to play with TikTok more, especially people are shouting the targeting functions of TikTok are really good. I'm eager to play with that myself and see exactly, Charlie, what you're saying with your face is I'm eager to see if that is truly valuable or just a way to focus on hyper niche bullshit? Whereas I really want to be able to sell things to more people more broadly and let the algorithm do it. So I'm eager to play with that myself and see how that goes.
It's good.
What about you? What about you, Taylor? What are you thinking about it? Because I feel like you've got a very in-depth view of the platform.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we love TikTok for the reasons that I've already communicated. It's just a high likelihood when seeding product, you'll get free content posted organically and be able to repurpose it. That's one. But two, I agree with both of you. Prior to TikTok, over the last couple of years, we've always communicated, hey, organic, it's just the cherry on top. Like, influencers are content creators, not distributors. We can always distribute that content way and far better than they ever could.
Right.
And that still is true. That still is true, even with TikTok where it's at. But that cherry on top is becoming, a little bit more than a cherry. It's growing. Where, like, on Instagram stories, prior to TikTok really taking off, we predominantly just seeded Instagram influencers, where their stories a lot of the time reach 10% of their audience, and that's at the micro level. As you grow bigger, that per follower basis, micros have greater reach, greater engagement, greater conversion rate, more niche audiences across the board in comparison to larger influencers. And then a lot of time they would reach 10% of their audience, and that's it. So if you have 100,000 followers, you get 10,000 impressions. TikTok, if it's a good video, you can very easily far surpass the amount of followers you have with the amount of views and impressions that you're able to get. So organic distribution, TikTok, it's like beachfront property in Malibu in the 70s right now. It's just that algorithm can take content viral very easily and far better than ever before. So we're very bullish on TikTok, activating influencers there via seeding. Again, it's still outweighed by the content being the real value add and allowing that to supplement your efforts via paid. But it's become a lot more than a cherry due to the organic reach that it's able to get at this point. So that's my 2 cents though on it.
I love it. I'll try to cover a slightly different ground and reiterate 2 points. One, Barry, I agree with you. I think, for reasons that I'll cover in a second, I think TikTok does legitimately offer a new entry into the marketplace. Right on schedule, by the way, between the distribution of email at scale, to the distribution of Google search ads at scale, to the distribution of Facebook ads at scale. It is the next generation. And it's basically right on time, right? Like, COVID hit 1 year after the Spanish flu. We are 10 years after Facebook ads. Like, makes sense. I'm not shocked by that. And I do like that it's delivering on a lot of the promises that other platforms offered but couldn't. I do also, to Taylor's point, very much agree in that the virality of the platform is their essence. They've reverse engineered Facebook to take that optimized CPM environment to one product and absolutely champion the end user and the creator in a way that nobody else has. In a way that is phenomenal, that was highly disruptive. I mean, basically, everybody has a TikTok now, right? Pinterest has idea pins. YouTube has shorts. Instagram has reels. You're either in the space or you're not. And all of them also use it as their viral acquisition to find other people, because it becomes so easy to discover folks that you don't know. As for the future of TikTok is concerned, where I'm coming from, because again, I'm like a business guy, looking at the unit economics of TikTok in the marketplace. They have I always look to the unfair advantage in the marketplace anybody has and then try to exploit it as much as possible. That's how you win in business. TikTok has an unfair advantage over every other social media platform, and that they don't need to generate profit. There's no capitalist, publicly traded element to TikTok. TikTok's costs can be, and likely are, but we'll never fully know, completely supported by government of China. So, not to get too political or conspiracy theory, but the bottom line is, you're dealing with a totalitarian society that has a piece of tech adopted by hundreds of millions of people that is allowing them to gain intelligence on everything. Now, there's one element to the organic. What do people like? What are their houses like? All of that stuff. I mean, imagine you couldn't pay for the spy information that TikTok users willingly upload to a Chinese government platform.
You know, Aziz Ansari's newest stand-up bit, I actually just saw him in live last week, but he covers this. He's like, literally like, if there was an app that was like, give us your face, you know, like you'd be like, no, like I'm not giving you my.
Yeah, but give us the fence around each military base. Give us what your home looks like. Give us your income, everything.
But because they've gamified it, they've made it interesting, like made it content. Like everyone's like, give me your face, give me your face. Like they're just like everyone's willing to like give it away.
Oh yeah,
for the fun content.
Now what is really interesting is when we get into e-commerce. That pixel is going to track the actions that occur on every site. Facebook knows, for instance, I had a conversation the other day about like when I was running New Balance, we did a big case study about retargeting people that abandoned cart on Nike because of advanced matching. That happens all the time right now. Yeah. If you have advanced matching and broad targeting, you are retargeting your competitors. Because Facebook sees, oh, I'm interested in red trainers. I abandoned cart on 2 other sites. What do I want to see? Ads for red trainers. And we see this every time, like gifting seasons. You go to one dropshipper store and immediately you get every competitor in the space that's using advanced matching selling the exact same thing.
And the consumers don't understand that.
Yeah. And most advertisers don't understand that. Which is
right. The dynamic audience.
But yeah, the vast
majority and then they think we're crazy.
Yeah. The vast majority of individuals who are 3 generations down from a guru that didn't know what they were talking about, reciting Facebook Blueprint 3 years ago, that population of the media buyer pool is probably 80, 90%. Those people don't understand this. Yeah. But you're already retargeting your competitors right now. Conquesting is a big piece because Facebook knows, oh, you're interested in red trainers. Oh, well, here's more content on red trainers because you want to see it. And you abandon cart. Great, you're in the mood to buy. Yeah, this guy has a red trainer ad on a purchase objective. Let me show it to you. And then you as a user, you're like, wow, I'm getting everything that I want. This is great.
By the way,
and you're engaging with it.
It's not even like that difficult. It's because every catalog has like the category, has the product description. All of those things are in metadata. It's not like Facebook's analyzing the user or analyzing every image. It knows it's a red shoe. No, it knows from the data that it is this type of shoe in this category that it is tagged with automatically, and it knows that it can show you that similar product from another brand. And
yeah,
you're right.
The AI of Facebook can read your ad. It knows this is a red trainer. Yeah, it knows, oh, you've got a bottle of Coca-Cola in the background, right? It knows like, oh, I've got a dinosaur thing. It probably knows who that is.
I don't know as much.
That's 100% true. I promise you, I saw the thing in Menlo Park in 2017. The AI has only gotten better. They can read everything. So my point to that is Facebook knows what billions of users are doing on millions and millions of websites 24 hours a day and what you are doing everywhere you go.
Right.
And people are saying, oh, Facebook's reading, the microphone is on, they know everything. It's like, no, you just Google search something.
Yeah.
And now Facebook knows your entire level of intent based off of other millions of users and trillions of data points in real time, what it is that you want to see.
Right.
Here's the thing. The Chinese government, to acquire that knowledge on every business in the world, is absolutely worth the opportunity cost of not trying to run a profit on the inventory of their ads platform.
Yeah.
With that being said, now mind you, while I was doing rock and roll, I was also a political talk radio personality, so I dig into a little bit of this. But Hulk Hogan's sex tape ruined my job with Bubba the Love Sponge, and I moved across the country. That's a whole other story for another time. But my point here is, I think it's here to stay because it's a reverse engineered Facebook optimized CPM platform with one product. It is that full screen video feed, right? They don't have to do lead ads. They're not doing carousels. They're not doing canvas ads or instant experiences, whatever. They're not doing DP. They're not doing any of this stuff. So they have to do one job really, really well. And they're doing it phenomenally well to the point where they disrupted the entire industry. And they don't need to make a profit. which means us as advertisers have an unfair advantage in the marketplace on the cost of inventory versus other platforms.
Yep.
So that being said, their AI is really strong. Let's not discredit, Chinese engineers, really smart people, and they got 1 billion smart people to choose from. Literally 1 billion smart people to choose from to make it happen, and they can use slave labor to push it through. So that's an unfair fight. But the other side of it is, for us as advertisers, is I think it presents the first real intruder into our current ecosystem of CRM and demand-based inventory, CRM being email, stuff like that, demand-based being search, and then optimized CPM of social network. Because really, TikTok's not even so much of a social network, right? It's way more of television than it is MySpace. So my point is, it is disruptive enough in that ecosystem, and their unit economics present them an unfair advantage that they could run at, and to be fair, I'm running TikTok ads. The CPMs don't necessarily have to be much better than Facebook. They're not half the time.
CPMs are irrelevant. Let's move on.
Yeah, that's sort of my point. It is that none of that really matters, because my ability for finding one piece of content that'll go viral, my ability to use it as an content evaluation device, and my ability to leverage that with paid media gives me an advantage that feels to me like 2016 Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
The conversion pixel exists. Optimized CPM environment exists. Everybody's still running engagement ads. And I've got a conversion objective. And the inventory is costing me half the price it should. So if you have a really good business, I'm very bullish on the ability of leveraging it. Now, strategically speaking, I'm going broad, auto, everything, because it is a reverse engineered Facebook platform. I'm not going to outsmart it. It's smarter than me. I'm going to play the game of going to Taylor to get a shit ton of stuff.
Yep.
I'm then going to evaluate all of those and do a qualification based on the reception of the marketplace, and then only escalate the best chances I have to win. I'm going to put together an all-star team and try to go win a medal. I don't need every player. I just need a team full of Scottie Pippens and Michael Jordans to try to go win, the Olympics. I don't need every NBA player that was good enough to get drafted. I just want the starting 5 on the all-star team. And I'll go to market with that. And if every month I get a new starting 5, I'm going to win. So that's sort of my much longer than I thought was going to be wrap up on TikTok. And why I'm extraordinarily bullish on it. And I'll admit, I was bearish as fuck on it for 2 years. And I'm kind of pissed I didn't embrace it 2 years ago. Yeah. But that's like being upset you got in Bitcoin at 20K in 2017. And now you're just pissed off that you didn't keep it. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. Because I think in 3 to 5 years, we might be Facebook 2019, 2020. And I would love to have what I have now in Facebook 4 years ago. So that's sort of the summation of my thought.
Yeah. Well,
right on.
Have you all watched the Netflix The Social Dilemma on there?
Oh yeah.
So that's what I think about. It's a lot about, it's using attention and brainwashing, not brainwashing, but it's interesting to think about what is being done with all this data to either weaponize things or weaponize thoughts, or also weaponize
aggressive
product.
word, but true.
Sorry?
Aggressive word, but very true.
Yeah.
You can bet your bottom dollar that documentary will never come out on behalf of TikTok in China, based off and piggybacking off what Charlie's saying.
Yeah.
Never will that be shown to the people.
Yeah.
And even more than that, in their ability to leverage stuff, they've blocked Google. Like people are like, oh, TikTok's now the most commonly used thing. Yeah, because the country with 2 billion people blocked the most valuable thing. And so what that means is now they're having market research on what might be their next product, which if I had to predict the future, they're going to come up with something that feels like Pinterest, in that it is a search platform serving a shit ton of impressions and more of some sort of feed. I don't know what that looks like, but I feel like we're going to see something where it becomes a search engine.